Well, this is a special Sunday for us. We have special guests with us. Dr. Tim and Connie Kratzer are here to represent the Free Methodist World Missions in the Nundu Deaconess Hospital in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. We have been supporting the Nundu Deaconess Hospital now we're in our second year. So when you give to support missions, part of that offering goes to help what is happening in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And Dr. Tim has kind of been the main person I've communicated with about what is happening there and keeping us updated. Tim and Connie have been able to travel periodically to the hospital there and began their ministry in the 1970s, correct, in Central Africa with Free Methodist World Missions, and continue to serve the Lord faithfully and supporting this vital, vital work that is happening in a war-torn part of our world. And so I was so excited when Tim reached out to me and said they were going to be in the area, because you are from Arizona, correct? So you've journeyed north and east to be with us. You were a part of a conference at Spring Arbor this weekend and were able to come and share with us here this morning. So thank you so much, Tim and Connie, for being here, and I'll welcome you forward.
I brought Connie up so she could say this with a smile. I tend to get serious and don't communicate how much I care about you and what God is doing in our lives. It's been a particular privilege of ours to serve the Lord in Africa, and we were called. I was called in grade 6 to serve the Lord in medical missions. And Connie was called to find a missionary doctor at Greenville College. So that's her story, that's my story, and we're going to stay with that. We were privileged. My heart is just so full with this day. Dave, what an amazing Bible study that was, and we really feel welcomed. We really appreciate your generous support of Nundu Deaconess Hospital. That ministry means a lot to us. And we were privileged to serve in the Congo in Central Africa from 74 to 94. There was a war period that took us away from that and kept us from going back. But in 2012, we rediscovered the hospital. We saw how God had protected the hospital and its people and the infrastructure, but most importantly, the people. And we saw how this church had stewarded that medical ministry and expanding that ministry from one hospital, one doctor, to multiple medical ministries, 4 hospitals, many health centers, and 21 doctors. 21 doctors today serving the Lord in our healthcare, and we're going to share that story with you. So Connie, thank you for being my partner in this and finding me.
Anytime.
So do you have some words for our good people here?
Oh. I just want to say what a privilege it is for us to be here and to share with you today, and thank you for your generous support for Nundu Deaconess Hospital over these last years. We really appreciate it. And it has been certainly a privilege to serve the Lord in Central Africa. And we have 4 sons, 2 of whom were born in Africa, so we consider them our African blessings. And they are scattered throughout the United States, but we saw 2 of them this weekend, so that was a special privilege. But again, thank you for your warm welcome, and we just appreciate you folks so very much and are glad to be here. Is that okay?
I have a particular burden to bear as an 80-year-old guy, and just tell me I don't look 80, and you'll make my day. The burden I carry is I'm an 80-year-old guy with a 30-year-old vision, and sometimes that doesn't work in certain circles, and so people sometimes don't know where I'm coming from and where I'm going. But I have a belief that the kingdom of God is here now. It will be here until he comes again, and that 50 years from now, healthcare in South Kivu and Nundu Hospital will be carrying on and will be much more robust, much more welcoming, much more just giving people hope. You know, that song that we sang was really impactful, and I do have the memory of an 80-year-old. But that song, I'm fighting a battle you've already won. No matter what comes my way, I will overcome. No matter what comes my way, I will overcome. And so in our vision, you're going to see that playing out, and you're going to see what it means to be one in Christ and be doing his purpose. So whatever period of life you find yourself in, this message is for you because you are part of the kingdom. And I need to find my clicker. Here it is. So Champions for Congo, Congo Health, our vision. So this is Nundu Deaconess Hospital, and it's about the infrastructure. It's about the infrastructure providing for people and the people we're serving. So I'd like to just give you some perspective, and then we're going to flesh out what God is doing in the Congo in providing hope and meaning in the lives of people who have significant medical and healthcare issues and socioeconomic issues. I offer the scripture, and thank you for reading those verses. And actually, the Acts connection is really significant because it was only possible to share together because Christ had power over sin and death, sickness and defeat. It was a real blessing and what Christ came to do. So Nundu Deaconess Hospital serves a population of 300,000 people, some of whom are refugees coming over from Burundi. And this just gives you an idea what the campus is about today. It's not wanting to click. So it went backwards and it doesn't go forward. There we go. Oops. Okay, now we go back. So this is the point of humor, not point of defeat. Okay, so Democratic Republic of Congo, just simple. You see where in Central Africa, Congo is right there in the middle. And then if your eyes go over to the right, that purple, you won't see the writing, but it says South Kivu, Sud Kivu in French. So that's the extreme eastern part of the country. So you see the purple, that's where the hospital is. Okay, I just need to be patient, and that's not my forte. Okay, and Nundu is at the pointer. It's on Lake Tanganyika, and the neighboring country is Burundi. You've heard of Hope Africa University, perhaps, and that's that Hope Africa University is in Burundi. So we're neighbors to that. So we're in South Kivu. The Sud Kivu is the French way to say that. So there we go. I just need to go slow. Are you doing that or? Okay. So when we see me doing this, I mean, okay, I'll go like this. Okay. So just a little description in numbers: 110 beds, 70 staff, 4 doctors. So 1 times many is 4. And then Nundu Deaconess Hospital is a referral hospital with 21 immediately related rural health clinics. And then you're going to get a picture. Yeah. Okay. What is Nundu Deaconess Hospital? What we do? We champion equitable, holistic health care in rural and eastern Congo. So why medical missions? At the end of chapter 9, as Dave really very nicely read, Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing every sickness and every disease. And it goes back to the beginning of the chapter where he said, so that you may know that the Son of Man has power over sin, I say rise up and walk. As a young Christian, as a sixth grader, and then growing in faith, those words meant a lot to me, and that's why I'm called to medical missions. So we're going to flesh that out and live that out a little bit. So what do? We have a neonatal intensive care unit and bringing to life healthy babies. We're saving babies that are at 24 weeks of gestation and just barely able to survive, but they would not survive if it was not for the NICU that we have. And Dr. Marks is the one that developed that. Pediatrics, we have a pediatrics unit. These lovely kids receiving the treatment that they need. Malaria is a primary cause for death in children, and so the ravages of malaria are just very significant. You have a breakdown of red cells and frequently required blood transfusions just because of the devastating effects of malaria. So children come in and their lives are saved because of the health care that they receive there. Malnutrition is a major problem, and we have a program providing porridge to bring nutritional resuscitation to our kids. We have a school of nursing, and so to provide health care, you need nurses, so we train nurses at the secondary school level. After they complete the school here, if they wish, they will have their certificate of from high school, secondary school, and go on to graduate nursing if that's their line. So these are our students. And there's some exciting things that we're going to talk about the nursing school some more as we go into this to the story. Sadly, in the beginning of this past year, 2019, I am an 80-year-old guy. I can't get over that. I'm frequently reminded. But anyway, war came to South Kivu in 2025. It froze our banks. We had to move our center of our church to the neighboring country, Burundi. And if you can make this out, so the picture says it all about troops coming in, taking over our city, our provincial capital, Bukavu. The arrow tells you where Uvira is, and that's our main commercial center. And then the star to the north of that tells you where the rebels advanced to in February of last year, 2025. And the star below the arrow shows you where Nundu is. You get a picture? There's kind of potential conflict there. And so we had to figure out, we had a problem because the clicker won't work. There we go. Oops, go back. I got it. It goes back but not forward, so that's the story of my life. Okay, so problems to overcome. To get out into the villages was not really safe, so we had to figure out how to do that, and there was a period of time to figure out what was safe to do, and then we had trouble getting medications to the hospital. But we did figure out how to do that. We figured out that the pharmacy in our commercial center, Uvira, was still open so we could get medications, and we did okay. But in December, the rebels came down to the city called Uvira, and the map is busy, but that conflict was extending almost all the way down to Nundu. So that map sort of tells you that. And so the impact, what's the impact of this conflict? People are on the move. People had to be, there's about 200,000 people that were displaced over to Burundi.
Quelques jours après la reprise de la cité des Mikenge, dans le secteur du Tomboué,
par les forces armées de la RDC,
les habitants découvrent encore les traces d'une violence extrême. Écoles, centres de santé et habitations, de nombreuses infrastructures ont été détruites. Témoins des atrocités, les populations accusent la coalition rebelle tourannée au M23 soutenue par le Rwanda. Sur place,
Of Nundu, Nundu is down along the lake, and this is showing how the hospital was damaged, how houses were damaged. That's a solar panel array. This is what it looks like in the hospital after the rebels go in there. There's no reason for this devastation. There's no reason for doing this. This gentleman is talking about how this war has impacted his life personally, and then people had to flee the area because of this. So there's some of the houses that are damaged. There's a residence that was ravaged. And so this is going to be a part of the story. We're just going to move on. So what happened is, for a while, the nursing school had to go into recess. They sent the kids back out to their villages, but then they came back and they went on with their classes and were able to take their final exams in July as scheduled. And then in the midst of all this, we have a building project. And so we started the building project before the war came. And then this is a rendition of what the new build is going to be like. The reason for the building project was we expanded our nursing program to include midwives. So it doubled our student population, and we needed to double the size of our infrastructure. So the rendition you see here is what the new build is going to look like, and then it's going to complement the old structure that's there, and it's going to have one new appearance. Okay. So our builder figured out a way how to make blocks out of mud, cement, and sand, and he does a compressed thing. And now this is starting just before the war started, but then there's some fits and starts. This is a literal cornerstone. This is the first stone being put into the foundation by our superintendent, very prayerfully placed and prayerfully committing the project to the Lord. Our people believe in prayer. Okay. The Lord is keeping me humble. There you go. There's the foundation. It's going. Just beautiful. Our builder is just an amazing guy. He's an engineer from Congo. He did his engineer training in a school up in Uganda. Just a real blessing. And he's designed this building. He's engineered the building, and he's the superintendent of the construction. He's just an amazing blessing to us. And so you can see the new build, and then you see in the background the old structure, and that's going to be refurbished after we move on with the project. We hope that will be completed in July. The project was to have already been completed, but the war had an impact. But moving on, there's a man named Dr. Mike McGee, and this guy is an amazing Baptist, because he loves Free Methodist, but he loves the Lord, and he believes that he's called to serve there at Nundu. And so Mike McGee, pictured there with his 3 Congolese friends, and the man on his immediate left is Dr. Biamungu, who he scholarshiped through medical school and through residency. In residency, they do not get a stipend. We pay for them to go to residency. So Dr. McGee scholarshiped Dr. Biamungu through his residency, and Biamungu is a surgeon serving there. Can you imagine me being there as an internist, and now we actually have a surgeon to do the work properly? So McGee was there just before the war broke out, and then he returned in July, so there was a period of time when he could not get into the country, but providentially then in July he was able to go back in and provided a lot of instruction and did a lot of surgery cases for us. And then he returned in March. So 3 times in the period of this conflict, he was called to God to get there and to serve. Can you imagine that? And I can't go through all the nuances of how the ebb and flow of the war is, but this man is called of God to serve with our people there, and we really appreciate his input. his last time being there in March, so this is April, almost May, April, he presented the bridge model. Are you familiar with the Navigator bridge model? Is that, very simply, it's showing the cross, and we're separated from God by our sin, and we're brought to wholeness and relationship to God through Christ, and the cross is the bridge. And we're there. We're part of the bridge, right? We're the bridge. It's just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing that God has done and has allowed us to do. During all this time, Dr. Luke, our OBGYN doctor, was fearful of going down to Nundu and says, what should I really do? So he was able to bring his family over to Bujumbura to be safe there. And then when he saw Dr. McGee going down to Nundu, he says, well, I can do that too. So he's going down there when conditions allow and is providing his surgical services as an OBGYN doctor. And he's also teaching at the nursing school. So again, we're reminded that there's a NICU there and prenatal care, so this is carrying on even in the midst of the war. There was a period of time when half of the hospital staff fled into the bush or crossed over to Burundi, but now everybody's on board. And during all that time, all 4 of our doctors were always there. They never left. And they're just doing an amazing job and providing amazing services. So God has provided in the times of conflict. God has provided. And there's so many things and so many stories I could share with you about how God has provided and enabled us to get resources to the hospital. We had to figure out how to get money to the hospital. We supplement salaries. We provide funds for medications. We provide funds for the porridge and all these things. We have to buy fuel for the solar system. We have supplemental generator to keep the system up. So in so many ways, God has provided. One of the most significant ways He's provided is to provide scholarships for people who are preparing for the time when war is over and we can be full speed ahead. So the students there on the right, one is a physical therapy student and the other is a radiology tech student. So he's being scholarshiped. These 2 men are going to school in Bujumbura in Burundi. And then on the left, the family, Dr. Marks, and with his wife, Christine, and his 4 children, they're in Bujumbura, and I'm working with them, and we're developing and working on these different ministries that God is enabling us to do. And in the midst of all this, we also have people that are training. Dr. Barron and his family, they're in Burundi, and he's OBGYN training, and within the next 2 years, then he'll be able to go back to Nundu and be one of our staff there. So we'll have 2 OBGYN doctors, we'll have a surgeon, and then there's another doctor in training in Benin, and he's doing a pediatric residency. So can you imagine what that does for the program? So here I was, an internist, trying to do all these things. I'm not sure why God put me there, but He did. And some great things are happening today. So now we have all these doctors, we have well-trained surgeons, OBGYN docs, and pediatricians. This is Dr. Biamungu presenting at a burn conference. Right now, so providentially, he's in Tanzania doing a pediatric surgery fellowship, expanding his skills. A lot of his surgery is pediatrics, and so he wanted to get training in that. So he's doing that during this time. So this is Champions for Congo. When you give to Nundu, you're supporting that particular hospital, but then you're looking at the future of healthcare ministries in the South Kivu. We're excited about a new partnership that's going to allow Champions for Congo to expand its vision. It's now a part of the Butterfield Foundation. So our relationship with the Butterfield allows us to expand our vision. Our mission is to I can see that one better. Well, we champion equitable holistic healthcare in rural Eastern Congo by developing, empowering, and building. And now we're going to flesh that out. Our vision is healthy, thriving, and resilient communities in Eastern Congo where every life is cherished and every life is uplifted. We give hope. So we're going to look at delivering, empowering, and building. Delivering compassionate, trauma-informed treatment and healing. What does that mean? These folks have been the victims of trauma for 30 years. 30 years. This period was ushered into the region in 1994 when the genocide happened in Rwanda, and that destabilized the whole region. And there's ethnic conflict in the region today going back to that time. And so these children's parents were traumatized, and so we're delivering compassionate, trauma-informed treatment and healing. We champion equitable holistic health care by empowering communities to take charge of their health and economic futures. Health and economic futures. So we have a vision of and entrepreneurial programs that will enable them to use the resources that are right there, that are God provided, and that can provide for healthy economic environment. And then we're also building resilient, sustainable healthcare systems for generations to come, only possible as these young people receive the training they need to provide health care in their communities. So we have a hospital, we have health centers that refer to these hospitals. It's a sustainable system. And again, our vision is healthy, thriving, resilient communities in Eastern Congo where every life is cherished and uplifted. To really understand the impact of this picture is you'd have to step into there, you'd have to feel it, you'd have to feel the heat. It's not the heat, it's warmth. It's these loving people that love us, and they're just doing life in a very meaningful and a very meaningful way. So building for the future, what does that look like? What's happening? This is a new pediatrics building there, and then this is the administrative center that we see in the future. How soon do we need it? How much is it going to cost? How important it really is? God only knows that. But this will be an administrative center where people can, where new patients can be received into the hospital if they have an urgent care issue, where they have an emergency, that then they could be triaged into the emergency department. And then there's also going to be a part of that building is going to be an administrative center. So when people come to the hospital, they can see where they should go, and then they can be welcomed in to whatever department they need to be brought into. God has called me home. There we go. Staff housing. So think about these doctors coming and needing a place to live. Well, we have housing that's been maintained, and some of the housing has been refurbished. A lot of the housing, all the houses were damaged because of the war, but they've all been brought back up to the conditions where people can actually occupy them. But we needed additional housing. So so we have houses already for many of our staff, but we need this staff housing for 4 families. It'll provide 4 apartments, each of which has 3 bedrooms and a major room and proper bathrooms. And so this will welcome the specialists that you saw, that I introduced you to previously. So staff housing. How much is this going to cost? We can do this for $166,000. Where's the money coming from? God has already provided. So you don't have a chance on this one. But God has provided this, and this story is amazing. Okay, so the context. The province of South Kivu is this whole area, these different regions. These are different territories within the province. And so we are in the most southern part of that province, called Fizi. You can't see it, but it's the shortest of those names. Fizi. So in that territory of Fizi, get this, we have 31 health centers, 4 hospitals, 21 doctors, 426 healthcare workers. Where did this start? 1 doctor, 1 hospital, and God provided. And that, I didn't give you the context. Let me just pause a minute. I got ahead of myself. That goes back to the 80s when we were in the Congo. So active service from 74 to 94. The service was interrupted when the genocide happened in Rwanda. But during the 80s, we were privileged to actually get the hospital established. There was a USAID-funded program to establish health centers related to hospitals of reference throughout all of Congo, and we were privileged to be a part of that. And we were just starting up the hospital when USAID came in and established these health care systems throughout the country. So we've been privileged to be a part of that. So what that did then, it allowed us to develop our system. So now today, we have not only Nundu Deaconess Hospital, we have Mission Baki Hospital, which back in the day was a dispensary and then a maternity. So we have the Mission Baki Hospital, that's part of our ministry. And then we also have a hospital north of us called Makabola Hospital, which was built by a investor in his community. And this hospital was built 10 years ago, but has remained inactive. And the people who have invested in this hospital has asked the church to step in and manage the hospital. So that's going to be a part of our ministry. And okay, I'm going to go. Okay, backwards. We're going to take this pointer to the doctor. Okay, now here's another part of it. So just imagine this. So you've contributed to Nundu Deaconess Hospital. Nundu Deaconess Hospital is part of the healthcare system in South Kivu. And then Champions for Congo represents this ministry here in the United States. But then on the Congo side of it, Dr. Marks, who is my colleague in this ministry, and let me just introduce you to Dr. Marks a minute. Dr. Marks is a Congolese physician who was medical director of Nundu beginning in 2018. And he was in the refugee camp from the war period in 1996, and was called to the Lord to go into medicine and went to medical school, and then came back to his country and served the hospital. And now he's developed a program called Jali Afya. So that's a little Swahili term that means care for health, reaching into the villages. And so he's a registered non-for-profit organization, registered in the Congo, but also registered in the United States. So he's our arm of outreach in the Congo, and I'm the arm, Champions for Congo is the arm here in the United States, so we're working together. So Jali Afya is reaching into the villages and hands-on right there. And then also connecting with different organizations and foundations. So our vision, again, healthy, thriving, resilient communities in Eastern Congo where every life is cherished and uplifted. Deaconess Health Network. Again, 80-year-old guy with a 30-year-old vision. This is why we're there. This is who we are serving. We're offering hope and meaning in a life that is very difficult for many people. So I'd like to just reflect on this and go back to our scripture and remind us about why did Jesus perform miracles? This is class time. Dave, you did such a great job leading us in that lesson. It was great. Where is Dave? He was right over here. Oh, okay. Anyway, what a great teacher. So I just walked through this. Why did Jesus perform miracles? Why was I called as a young man? What got in my heart to do medical missions? This is your take home for today. I want you to be reflecting on chapter 9 of Matthew. and think about, why do we do medical missions? Medical work is expensive. It takes a lot of money, a lot of resources. Why don't you just take that money and build a lot of churches? That's more cost effective, isn't it? Well, anyway, if that were the case, I would not do very well in the pulpit. I'm not a great public speaker. That's not what I'm good at, but I care about people, and I've loved practicing medicine. You know, the privilege I have as a doctor is people walk in with a medical need, and right away, I'm Dr. Kratzer, and I'm a friend. And they accept me for what I have to offer them as a physician. And that's the way that it is with medical missions. So when people come to us with a medical need, we are able to welcome them and give them hope. So the first part of our scripture was, by what authority did Jesus come and introduce himself into the lives of these people? By what authority? He's Jesus, the Son of God, and he has power over sin and over death. What separates us from God? Our sin. And what's the outcome of this life? Well, it's death. And what takes away that hope is illness and disease. So he said to them, so that you may know that I have power over sin and death, I say, rise up and walk. That got to my heart and got to my spirit as a kid. Oh, that's what happens when you see Jesus. He comes in and he changes things, and he gives you hope and he gives you victory over whatever it is that is taking you down and whatever separates you from God. And the next part of the passage is, faith is the beginning of God's work. Faith is the beginning of God's work in your life. And so when the blind man came and said, I can't see, and it was asking God to do something, Jesus said, because of your faith, I say, because of your faith, you will see. Because of your faith, you will see. And then the last part of our scripture is, Jesus had compassion. And, you know, as he traveled to the towns and villages and teaching, he healed many of their diseases and illness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were confused and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. It's so easy in life to become distracted and lose hope because of all the issues of life that get into us. So Jesus had the authority over sin. He responded to our faith, and he had compassion. He has compassion on us. So as we wrap this up, I'd like you to just consider several prayer requests. Pray for the provision of medications and essential supplies at the hospital. This is an ongoing issue, and we're thinking about ways to have a more reliable system. We've become aware of humanitarian agencies here in the United States that can provide medications at low cost, and we can air freight them with the help of these. We can purchase these medications here and air freight them into Burundi and then bring them across to the Congo. But we need to figure out the processing. So we're optimistic we'll be able to raise the resources to get medications at low cost and then pay for the transport. But then how to process the medications across the border into the Congo. Then pray for the staff as they provide for families with decreased incomes and shortage of food. So the whole area is impacted by the war and the ability to raise crops. And so we're providing some supplement of their salaries, but they have ongoing needs. And then the third thing is pray for revival to move through the region of conflict and resulting in racial and political reconciliation. We were in the Bible in our study today. How many were in that class today? So think about what that was. Think about the Jews and the Greeks. Racial divide has not gone away. And a dear sister in the class reflected on I think the sister was here, about what it was like in the 60s to be black and white. We've made progress, but that's still a journey. And sadly, racial divide is impacting the Congo today, and that's what that conflict is about. It's two ethnic groups who can't get along. And then within each group, you have the people who want to get along, but you have the militants that make the trouble. You have the two militants that make the trouble. So pray for revival so that there can be racial reconciliation, and people will grow in their faith, and people will come to know the Lord. And then finally, pray for successful negotiations between the M23 and the DRC government. That's just a political thing, and we need to figure out a way to move forward. So provision of supplies, staff, revival, and peace in the Congo. This is why I'm there. This is why we continue to go back. Pray for our leadership team. This is Dr. Marks on the left, Dr. Luke next to him, and then next to me is Dr. Biamungu. And so I just love working with these people. So pray to the Lord, who is in charge of the harvest, to send out workers. One of the reasons I want to get the message out is, yes, we need financial support, resources right now to do the program. But I believe there are people in the audiences that I address that will be called of the Lord to come and serve. And I believe there's going to be young people in healthcare ministries who say, oh, God's doing something in my life, and I want to be engaged in international medicine. So somebody out there is going to listen, and somebody is going to hear from the Lord and respond to that. But whoever you are, however God is calling you, it's just beautiful to be involved in a kingdom that reaches all people with hope and meaning. Just to bring home the point that the Butterfield Foundation is managing all our resources and are helping us as we develop Champions for Congo. You can access the portal if you give personally through the website, and then I think the church here actually just sends the resources to the mailing address you see there. Thank you for your prayers, and just thank you for your generous support. That means a lot. This is the Sanja River. The Sanja River is powerful. It does what it wants to do, but God has a purpose and meaning for our lives, and God will do what he wants to do in our lives. So thank you for listening, and I don't know how we're doing on time, Pastor, but anyway, thank you so much. Just as a response, we have some prayer cards. I'd like to meet and greet you if you'd like to pray for us and have a reminder of who we are. Connie and I are U.S.-based partners. We're retired and serving the Lord in this ministry, and we wanted to be recognized. When you go into Free Methodist World Missions, we are there as Tim and Connie Kratzer, U.S.-based partners, and working in this field. So I have a card. I have some handouts if you want to have a reminder of what these different ministries are. And then we have a website. It's really, really easy. Congo Health. We bought the domain, congohealth.org. If you just put in Congo Health, you're going to get a whole lot of other stuff. But if you say .org, that somehow does something special, and it goes into our website. So, and that'll tell you a whole lot of stuff that's going on in the Congo. I think we're good. Thank you, Pastor Keith, for helping us be here. And and then also, if you want to get into our mailing list and receive our newsletters personally, the church receives it. But if you want to receive our newsletters personally, then just give me your name. I have a notebook here. We can get your name into this, into our contacts list. Thank you, and I hope to be able to visit with you and meet you. Thank you so much.